While both quarterbacks are early in their careers, Lamar Jackson is 0-2 against Mahomes and has a completion percentage of just 52% in those games. So, Shannon, does Lamar need to win this game against Mahomes to make it a rivalry?
No, because it's not going to change the dynamic of who these players are, Skip. What made Peyton and Brady a rivalry, Skip, is that they met 5 times in the playoffs. They met 4 times in AFC championship games. That's what made it a rivalry. What made Bird and Magic a rivalry? It wasn't them playing in the regular season. It was the NBA Finals. Somebody was going to cause somebody some heartache, Skip. The Ravens and the Steelers. Because not only were they in the same division, they caused, okay, you ain't going to the playoffs. You're not going to the Super Bowl this year. We're ending your season. Skip, if they played with greater regularity, this will only be their 3rd time. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mahomes beat him in his building, and then they went last year and beat Lamar in Baltimore. But for me, Skip, it's going to take, now I get it, there's only going to be 1 bye week this year. So 2 doesn't get a bye. 2 has to play. So it might, well, if Lamar loses this one, maybe Kansas City gets the #1 seed, they get the week off. Maybe if Lamar wins, they get the bye week and Kansas City has to play. But for me, rivalries doesn't start because you got to play often. You got to play every single year. Ohio State, Michigan is a rivalry. Duke, North Carolina, Skip, because they play every year. Or if you want to be a rivalry, I got to see you in the playoffs. Skip, I got to cause you pain. I got to be the reason that your ultimate goal that you said you wanted to hold something up at the end of the season, I got to be the reason that ends. I want when you go to bed, you go to work out, you see my face. So for me, if Lamar doesn't win this game, sure, I'm sure he'll be disappointed because like, man, what I got to do to beat my homeboy. But for me, nah, it's not a rivalry yet until one of these guys keep the other one from getting to the playoffs. That's what made Peyton and Brady special. Brady and Peyton also started, Skip, you remember this, they started out in the same division. They all used to be in the AFC East, so they literally had to play each other twice a year, and then they faced each other in the playoffs. Think about that. They faced each other 5 times in the playoffs, 4 in AFC championship games. Peyton, 1-2, 1 in Baltimore. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Peyton Manning is 3-1 against old GOAT in the AFC Championship game. Did you know that, Skip?
I just know old GOAT won 6 Super Bowl rings and 9 tries.
Man, Peyton Manning would have had 9 if he'd had Belichick.
Really? I don't think so.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, my turn. You realize that I picked the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl. You picked the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
I did.
Correct?
Yep.
So here we go. It's Monday night. This is why I disagree with the point you just made. Lamar Jackson, and I'm a big fan, he needs to win this game. We're talking about legacies here that will turn into rivalry, and I don't disagree with your premise of it needs to happen when it really matters.
Right.
But so far, Lamar has nothing to show on games that really matter. 2 of those came in the regular season, both of them at Kansas City, rookie year, second year, obviously, for Lamar. And he lost both. He played really well in the first one. I'll talk about it in just a second. Not so well in the second one. But do I need to remind everybody what's happened to Lamar in 2 home playoff games?
Right.
Nothing great.
No.
Okay, stunk it up twice. And he knows it, and he's talked about it. I think it's fueling him. I still believe Baltimore is the best team. I think they've shown so far they're the best team. I certainly don't write off Kansas City. But Lamar, for the sake of his team and the sake of this rivalry, he needs to win this game at home as a 4-point favorite over the Chiefs. So let's look at those 2 games quickly. What happened in 2018? It was their first meeting. Late in the year, week 14, it was cold and windy in Kansas City.
And Lamar had only been starting about 5-6 games, I think.
For fluke, right? Okay. So this was the first time I sat back and I said, wait a second, this kid is going to be special.
Right.
Because he was really, really good in this game, throwing it and running it, because he ran it 14 times for 67 yards, but he threw it really well, threw for 2 touchdowns and no picks. And he threw a touchdown pass to John Brown with 4:04 left to put them ahead 24-17. And I thought, he just pulled this off.
Yep.
And they had Kansas City pushed all the way back to 4th and 9. 4th and 9?
Twice.
Well,
they had 2 fourth downs on the big throw.
The one was 4th and 9 with 1:29 left. And your man hit Tyreek on his little crossing route. It was only about a 5-yard throw, but he caught it and he took off with it. And it's that staple of the West Coast offense. And once he got underneath and caught it and turned it up, it was over. And he went 48 yards with it, and they went on down and scored. It did come down to a fourth down play.
They went for the fourth and goal.
He hit Damien Williams with a little pop pass, and then that was that 24-all. Then Lamar got strip sacked, and Butker missed the field goal that should have won it, but then they won it with a long drive in overtime. Okay, and actually Lamar ended up getting banged up, and they had to put RG3 in to end the game in overtime. Did well for himself, showed what was about to happen.
Right.
But they lost. And then the game 2019 last year came pretty early. It was September 22nd. It wound up 33-28, but going into the fourth quarter, the game was virtually already over. It was just, it was pretty ugly. So my point to you is that Lamar hasn't done enough. You need a dub. You need to do something. I think it's a huge game. As regular season games go, because it's a Monday night game, he needs to show the world that he can lift his team up over Mahomes' team, or it's going to start looking like, well, you're just second rate. You're second best. You can't beat that guy. You can't win big games. That will start. You're going to start to hear the low roar of that if he doesn't win this game. I believe he can win this.
Well, Skip, see, for me, I get it. I'm more of a playoff, and we play all the time. The Bears and the Packers. You're talking about a 100-year history of them playing consistently. Now, there's a great likelihood, Skip, if they don't meet in the playoffs, when will the next time? Would they play again next year? I don't see that. And like I said, I need to call...
I think there's great likelihood they meet in the playoffs.
Yes. My thing is, Skip, I need to call you pain. I need to call you misery. I want to be the reason why you train the way you train, you eat the way you eat, and you focus the way you focus. I don't, you know what? Maybe Lamar is thinking like that, Skip, because even though he's the reigning MVP, people still say Mahomes is the better of the quarterbacks.
They do.
And maybe they've already bumped him down to third because they say, and they bump Russ up because Vegas is saying Russ is not a favorite to win the MVP. So maybe he said, well, hey, I don't get no respect because y'all saying he's better. Now y'all saying Russ is better. So maybe that's fueling him, Skip. But that's just me. I looked at us. We had a rivalry with Kansas City and the Raiders. We had Raider Week. From the very first time, and I understood, okay, it's Raider Week. Things were different. Coaches were on edge. Now,
okay, but that had started long before you.
long before.
These kids are having to start their own legacy rivalry.
Well, the Pittsburgh rivalry started with me. When I got there.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Coach Kyle, you know,
when you talk about those division rivalries, they go back to the 60s.
Yes. So let me